Welcome to Snetterton. We're here at Snetterton for round 5 of the MX5 Super Cup. I can't say that this has been my favourite track on the calendar over the years, but last year I did have my best ever quali result with a P4 on the grid, so hopefully we can replicate some of those results this weekend. The format of this weekend is a little bit different to normal. On Saturday we've got quali, race 1 and race 2, with just race 3 on Sunday morning. For quali, it's all about the fastest 2 laps that we can do. The fastest lap sets where we start for race 1, and our second fastest lap sets where we start for race 2. For race 2, where we finish is especially important, as that sets where we start for race 3. And with that out of the way, let's go look at the track. So we're at a very wet starting grid at Snetterton. Compared to some of the other tracks that we visit, it's actually quite a long run down to turn 1, and because of that, it's really common to get quite a lot of overlap between cars, where some have got better starts than others. Going 3-4 abreast into the corner really isn't unusual, and because of that, contact is pretty common. Turn 1, Rich's, is a mega fast double apex right-hander. In the MX5, it's just a short dab of the brakes and in, but there's a really long straight afterwards. So if you scrub off too much speed, it completely kills the next straight and you lose a lot of time. Equally, go in too fast and the car gets quite sideways and you still lose a lot of time. So it's tricky to find the right balance. We've carried the speed through turn 1, and then it's all about beasting it onto the brakes for turn 2, which is a pretty traditional hairpin called Montreal. From there, it's just about getting on the throttle as soon as possible to take us up the next straight. Turn 3, we actually don't scrub off much speed for. Some people go through with just a lift, some people have a light brake just to have to get the car turned. But if you've had a bad exit out of turn 2, this is where it's all going to come to a head, and despite not scrubbing off much speed, it can still be a good overtaking zone.
First part of this race, a little bit further down.
Turn 4, Agassini. It's a lot like turn 2 in that it's another traditional hairpin, but unlike turn 2, this one always brings back some pretty bad memories for me. When we were racing here last year, made a really nice move for the lead into this corner, and instead of ending up here on the track, I ended up over there on the grass, and that ruined the rest of my race.
He got off, he's disappeared.
If you haven't chucked it off the track, like I seem to have done many times before, then next up we've got turn 5, Hamilton. In the MX5, it's just a light brush of the brakes and in, trying to get as close to the tyres on the apex curve as you can without smashing the front wheel off. From there, it's just about feeding back in the power without running into track limits on the exit. Turn 6, Augies, hard on the brakes down to second gear and trying to use as much of the apex curb and the curb in as we can get away with, although they've got the barriers out this weekend, so there's only so much we can do. From here, we're not going to touch the brakes again for quite a long time, so the exit is really key. After Augies, we've got one more corner before heading up a really long Bentley straight. Williams is not quite flat out, but we do have a little lift on entry just to help get the car turned. And from there, it's just about maintaining minimum speed and making sure that we make the most of the next straight. As we head out onto the Bentley straight, you naturally want to use all of the exit curb, and at least a few times you can get away with using quite a lot of the green as well. There is a big rut right at the end, and as I found out last year, unless you get back over to the track sharpish, that's a pretty easy way to ruin your race and smash a wheel. As we come under the bridge after the Bentley straight, we're going around about 120 miles an hour into a really fun and technical part of the track. We're down from 4th gear into 3rd, hugging the left as much as we can and not letting the car push wide because it's going to screw up the next corner. Next up, we've got Bomb Hole. Unlike the rest of Snetterton, which is completely flat, this corner is actually a little bit cambered, which means you can carry in a bit more speed than you would otherwise be able to. If you get everything absolutely perfect, then you can take it flat out. Coming towards the end of the lap now, we've got probably one of my favourite corners on the calendar, Coram. It's a really technical, long right-hander that just feels like it's going on forever. You're almost flat out in the MX5, the car's moving around quite a bit, and it naturally wants to push out to the left, but you just have to make sure that you keep the car over to the right-hand side as we head into the final corner. At this point, we're carrying a load of speed in the car and it naturally wants to push wide. Instead, we need to keep it tight to this side of the track, almost hitting these bollards, braking and turning at the same time, ready to go into the final corner. And that's a full lap of the Snetterton 300 circuit. Next up in the morning, we've got quali. So it's Saturday morning and we're in assembly, just getting ready to go up for quali. At the moment it's dry and we had lots of dry testing yesterday, so if it stays like that then it should have some pretty good pace. That said, it looks like it might rain, so that could mix things up a bit. So that's the end of quali. Couldn't be more annoyed, to be honest. It was meant to rain, so we gambled and put some wet tyres on, thinking even if it stays dry, there'll still be some pace. And compared to yesterday, there was just zero grip. Going 3 seconds a lap slower, understeering everywhere, and no time to do anything about it. Not actually sure where I ended up. I think it was something like 20th, 22nd. Doesn't really matter. We've got the race in an hour or two, and from there, it's just send it, see what happens. So that's race one all done. We went out with a plan of going on dry tyres on a dry setup on a wet track, thinking it would dry and the pace would come. It didn't, the rain got worse and the pace just disappeared. Made up 5 or 6 places on the opening lap, but that was pretty much the only good point of the race. From there, just slowly went backwards and I think I ended up pretty much where I started. This afternoon, we've got another chance of race 2, starting in the same place, and this time we're going to go out on wet tyres. That's race 2 all done, and what a difference. Who'd have thought going out on a wet track on wet tyres would be such a good idea. Started P22 and quickly moved up through the field. On the last lap I was up to P9, well happy with that, and then just snatched the front wheels on the last lap on one of the last corners and dropped to P11. But to be honest, I don't really care, I'm just really happy. That was a really fun race. Couldn't see a thing, but I'm happy. Because I finished P11 today, that means we're starting P11 for race 3 in the morning, so it's an especially important result and an extra reason why I'm happy. So that's race 3 all done. We thought it was going to be a dry race. I think everyone thought it was going to be a dry race. So running dry tyres, dry setup, and then on the starting grid, it just hammered down with rain. So some spicy conditions, but at least everyone in the same boat. Opening lap was great, made up a load of places, and then immediately just got doored off the track and sent backwards. Made up those places again, and then got hit again and sent off the track. And yeah, rinse and repeat really, made up some more places. I think I ended up P12, but I think it could have been a better result there if I hadn't been hit off the track twice. That said, I've now got to go see the clerk because I need to see my video footage. Hopefully someone else is about to get in trouble and not me, but let's go find out. So just come back from the clerk's office. I was a little worried that I was going to lose my race result because I didn't know what I'd done wrong or why I'd been called here. But it turns out just to be a non-issue. Apparently there'd been a report from a marshal that I'd crashed into another car at the start, which I don't remember doing. We watched the video back and yeah, I've just had a really good launch and just grazed another car as I've gone by. So the clerk's happy that it's not a problem and we can move on. With that out of the way, that's the race weekend all done. Bit of a mixed bag results-wise, bit of a mixed bag weather-wise, and although it was good fun, maybe it's a weekend to forget. Time to go home now, but we don't get much of a break as in 3 weeks' time, we're off to Cadwell Park. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. I think that'll do. Fuck it, we're done. Yeah.